Welcome back. We're here and
we're
having a wonderful
great time with the star.
Yes, our special
star.
guest. We are absolutely starstruck. See, I can't even talk. Lou Taylor Pucci is with us, and he plays Luke in the story of Luke. And we just have fawned over you because your performance is unbelievably beautiful. I said to you, you are beautiful. I could watch you endlessly.
Yes, you're spot on. I'm sorry if we're embarrassing you, but
no, that's very nice.
Coming from two moms who have children, boys with autism.
Oh yeah.
We're the tough audience.
We're the tough audience. And let me tell you, Lou, you hit it. You nailed the role. You nailed it. So how did you prepare for this role? How did you research it?
Well, what was great was that Alonzo had grown. I found out early on that Alonzo had grown up in it. He grew up with all kids all around him because of his mother's institution in Peru. And he had already, thank God, set up a bunch of rehearsal meetings that I was going to have with parents and kids, sometimes together, sometimes just with the kids, sometimes just with the parent who had autism or autism in the family or something. And we tried to get the age range from anywhere from about 17 to like 27 because we didn't know exactly what age I was playing or what, you know. It's not really defined whether I have autism or Asperger's, but it's most likely that I have Asperger's.
Grandma says I defy clinical...
I defy clinical categorization.
That's right.
Grandmother says.
Yes, I loved that.
Yeah, but that's the testament to the writing. The writing really is what makes this movie right, because I'm just saying the words. I'm just saying the words as sincerely as I can and as light as I can.
Well, Alonzo clearly knows the world of autism. That is just without question. And you, though, took his words and really brought them to life.
And I have to say, and the words are beautiful, and the script and the progression of the script is beautiful. But we watch, and there's so much that you do, and the way you carry yourself that's so unspoken. What I think of, there's the lovely scene of you in the car with your uncle. And he is talking to you.
I was just going to say, that's like, you gave me a script of like, what's the best scene? Well, that's one of my favorite scenes to watch.
Scene.
Oh, it's
because
amazing.
we made that one up kind of on the spot.
Really?
Yeah.
I could tell that there was a lot of probably
the comedy version of that was me trying to get out of the car while he's just acting like I'm his therapist.
Yes.
And he's just like, I just put my clothes on, one leg at a time.
Right.
He's just boring me, and I'm trying to get to my job because it's time to go.
It's a great scene.
But everything that you have going on is just so beautiful. And as you said, the uncle is sitting there, and he's trying to give you advice, but he goes into, because we all are in our own existence, and he goes into his own thing, and you're trying to get out of the car, and all of the things that you have physically going on, it is hilarious, but it's poignant, and it's beautiful. And then finally you turn to him and say, you're not a very good listener.
Yeah.
But it's okay, and I'll cook you something really nice later on.
Right.
And then he still keeps talking, and you go, Uncle, and he finally lets you out of the car. It's a beautiful, beautiful. I mean,
it's so funny that you thought that was such a good scene, because I love that scene, and it was one of the ones that we really just kind of got to make up by ourselves by accident. It just happened.
Well, it's beautiful, beautiful work. And I think we should show the trailer. We've talked about it.
Let's show the trailer, and then when we come back, because I wanted to talk about Luke's sense of honesty, which is very important.
Yes,
okay, let's take a look.
Your mother's really something. She bought every car leather cleaner and air purifier that I had.
She's my Aunt Cindy. My mother left me when I was 4 and doesn't want me back.
Is that?
It's my cousin, the one I told you about?
The retard?
Please, autistic or something, right, Luke? Autistic?
Grandma said that I defy clinical categorization. I'm just as special as anyone else, maybe even a little bit more.
We need to get them proper care. It's what's best.
Luke, keep an eye on the relatives.
I'm going to get a job.
Then you find yourself a nice girl. Girl that doesn't nag, likes to travel.
What do you want to do? Huh? What do you want to do?
I want to go out and screw. Yes, like a boy my age.
Have a seat and fill this out.
Do you not nag and like to travel? I'm looking for a female with those specifications.
Don't you think we should find you a job before you start asking me out on dates?
I'm your supervisor. My name is Zach, never Zachary. I run the IT department. I own your ass.
So, Luke, you find a girlfriend yet? That's not funny, Brad. He's been home all day.
I found a girl.
Did you fall for an NT?
Maria is a nice girl with pretty breasts.
NT, neurologically typical. She's normal.
You thought you were finding a job? taking buses around town.
What if I say no? I mean, you're cute and all, but maybe I'm looking for something different in a guy.
I scream sometimes. I shouldn't, but I do. Breathing helps, and pancakes.
I love pancakes.
Well, I think everybody got a little sense of Luke there and how endearing. That's what I would call this character. Absolutely endearing.
We fell in love with you.
We did. And Luke he's shockingly honest, which, in my experience with my son and others with autism, is across the board common.
Across the board.
Did you find that from your research?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most absolute parts of having autism is that you're not really. I guess it's because you don't understand social, comedy, like funny jokes. You don't they don't see it the same way. So I just feel like that honesty is funny to us, but they don't think they're being funny.
No, I can tell you, my son used to go up to people that were heavy, and he would pat their bellies and say, "I like your belly."
Right.
He would go right up to people and just start rubbing their stomachs and say, "I like your belly."
Yeah.
And that's kind of embarrassing if you're a neurotypical, but it was his honest feeling.
Right. And there is this whole discussion in the film about the neurotypicals versus, being different. Mm-hmm. And there's a lovely scene with you and Seth Green, who is supposed to be training you.
Yeah.
But he pulls you to the window and says, "Look at this!" And he shows you two people standing by the water cooler and how they're flirting, and he details the entire thing and what you need to do. It's hilarious to an autism parent, and I think it's hilarious to anybody because all those little nuances that get talked about, and of course you in the film, your character goes about trying to learn all of those different things. It's so rich, and all the different characters and your interactions with them, it's just rich is the word that comes to mind.
Luke is very motivated. He gets every book on body language and this and that, and everybody keeps telling him that didn't work, and that didn't work, and that didn't work.
He gets some girly magazines handed to him by another young man in the film.
Yeah, well, sexuality is a part of everyone.
It is.
Especially someone who has autism, we don't talk about it a lot because it's embarrassing to people, and they don't know how to talk about it, and so
we don't talk about
people. It goes into it a bit.
There are so many sexuality with people with disabilities is very taboo in our culture, and we're all sexual beings. And I love that exploration in the film, and I also love the way Luke, when he started to become aware of this, that breasts were. I mean, he would talk to a girl and say, "And I like your breasts," right? That was just so real. So
I want to know, though. We asked about you already said your favorite scene in the movie. What was the hardest scene in the movie to film?
The hard ones were when we would have to do something that was seemingly heavy because, like Alonzo just talked about, we were trying to keep it as light as possible at talking about a very heavy subject so that people don't get scared and not want to watch it or get embarrassed and don't connect. So it was probably the scene where Luke, he has a freak out. He has an episode pretty much where he has to explain, like, I just don't yell at me, and to his foster mother, Kristen. Grandma would never lock the door. She would never, she would never lock the door. She would never, keep me somewhere. I am just trying to be a man. I'm just trying to get out of here. I don't want to be institutionalized like I just watched you do to my grandfather. Like I want to be a man. I want to get out of here. So that's why I want to do it. But he has an explosion. And that explosion comes with, the movement and total disarray. So that was hard to capture in any semblance of a light way for me to do.
But it was dead on. Your portrayal of those moments were absolutely dead on. I think there was such an honesty in it that I found myself saying, okay, who consulted on this movie? Because they got it so right.
Yeah, it was Alonzo.
Yes, I see that now, but that's why it comes from such an honest place, because I don't know that you could learn that.
Well, I gotta say, the kids that I met, I only met like 3 or 4, and it was Matthew, and Sebastian were just definitely the most necessary parts of learning about this thing. Sebastian, he couldn't speak very well, so his entire idea was completely different. It was the way he walked. It was the way he was scared about authority. And then Matt was a computer programmer. He was so high functioning that like he just wasn't very socially confident, but he had Asperger's and autism. And then you had Matthew, who had the face. He just looked like he was always so scared. But he didn't act like he was scared. He just had a stiffness and a stress to his body that gave me something to play with and work with and say like, okay, that's what you have to capture visually, so that I don't have to play the character, so that I can just say the words. You know?
Well, it comes together brilliantly.
That's great.
What has this taught you? This role as a human being and as an actor?
I think it taught me so much about how autism is really, in my opinion, and I'm not a doctor at all, it's just, it's so much of a learning disability as well as a social disability, because I just feel like there's a certain time when they're open to learning and are going to sustain those things that they learn. So you have to kind of teach kids young, and that was why Luke can get out of the house, is because his grandmother made him do things, taught him the subway map and taught him the bus map and said, you go get me groceries. That was all backstory for us, but you knew in the story that he knew how to take the bus.
And another important thing, his grandmother gave him self-esteem.
Right.
Yes.
Important.
Yes. And
he knew what he was good at.
He
and
did.
He would tell people on a regular basis.
I am not retarded. I am not this. I am a valuable, intelligent man, according to Grandma, and he knew
and
that.
I can cook 23 meals, including breakfast. No desserts yet.
That's amazing that you did so good remembering all that.
It's a very memorable character. It's a very memorable character.
Absolutely. And we said this after watching it. You're a brilliant actor, and we know that great things are coming for you and to you.
We do.
And we can't wait to see your astronomic rise, because you deserve that.
I hope so.
This was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to following the trajectory of your career, because
what's next? We need to know what's next.
Well, the only thing that's coming up so far is probably not the audience for these guys, but it's called Evil Dead. It's
why not?
We like to take vacations from autism.
Gruesome horror movie that's way too bloody.
All right.
So send my husband.
Yeah, it's a guy thing.
Have him say if you should go or not.
Okay, what do you play? Do you play like a zombie or?
I guess in some ways I'm the stereotypical nerd. I'm like the guy that knows everything. He's the college professor who's in this situation, so he plays the audience. He knows what's going on.
So are you the first to die? You can't tell us.
No.
All right. So that's going to be out in theaters, or you don't know yet?
I believe it's going to be out in April.
In April, okay.
Somewhere on the 12th of April.
And your aspirations as an actor, what 10 years from now, where do you want to be?
I just want to. You get a script. Sometimes it's a great character, and they're only going on a small list of A-list people, and so your aspiration is to get on that list, to be one of those people who's even thought of for the parts that really are written well and directed well, and it's going to be a great story, because that's hard to get involved.
And how do we get you on that list?
I don't know.
I think this film is going to get you on this list.
I just do things that people respect and care about, and things that I respect and care about.
Well, you're an amazing young actor, and you've been doing this for a while. This is not new to you.
You started as a teen.
You were on Broadway.
You were on Broadway.
Yep, I did Sound of Music on Broadway. I was running around in a sailor suit.
How old were you?
When I was 11, 12, 13. 12 and 13.
And your mom and dad encouraged you in your choice?
I would have never done it. I probably would have never done any of this. I might have gotten into music because my dad was a musician, but my parents pushed me to do all of this stuff because they were into it. They made my name Lou Taylor Pucci because they thought it was going to be a good stage name.
It is
for music, but they just threw it out there that I should do theater when I was a kid, and they bribed me $10 to go and do an audition, and I went, and I started making friends and liked it. And if there's something you're good at, you just kind of keep going. If people tell you.
Do you hear that though, parents? They paired reinforcement. They didn't like it to begin with, and they paired reinforcement with it. This is how we teach any kid how to do anything.
But they let me go for a couple of years because my mom wanted me to start when I was 7, and my dad was was like, don't take dancing lessons when you're 7. Let him do it when he wants to
Right,
try
right.
it out. And then 10 years old, I came around, I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it.
All right. Well, we are
we're
unfortunately out of time.
We're out of
sorry.
time. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep our viewers informed about the film and how the first step, like it on Facebook.
There you go.
Like it on
Story of
Facebook.
Luke.
And we will let you know when it's going to be available to the general public so you can watch Lou play this remarkable character.
You're going to want to hug
And his
him.
performance, you know, I mean, you really nailed it, Lou, and we are so happy you came by today.